So welcome to slot theory. So the first thing I'm going to start talking about is linear functionality, or what is a slot? What is this energy line that we dance in order to show you what linear is, I'm going to show you what the rounded version of our dance would look like. If you look at like the Lindy Hop roots, where we have like big swivels and movement, this would be very rounded Lindy Hop. Then there's also, of course, very linear Lindy Hop. And then, of course, with slower music, we maintain that more linear nature, and we can straighten our legs and have West Coast swing. For linear functionality in West Coast swing, we deal with 2 points and the energy line between those 2 points. So in our dance, we have a slot that can be defined as infinitely wide and infinitely long. But with that in mind, when we have 2 human beings that are attached, that have to pass each other through space, we have to see the most efficient way for 2 objects to pass by each other in the dance realm. So that's what I mean by linear functionality. The second part of that is how we can apply pressures and how we can change angles. And I'll be using a lot of analogies, especially to shooting pool, but to show how we can not only get from point A to point B, but also know where the impact is going to send each of those objects as well. So like in shooting pool, you would hit the cue ball in the center, and it would hit another ball, and that would go somewhere, whether it banks or goes into a pocket. And most people in the world stop there. They go, okay, I hit the ball, it went in, great. Then you have the more advanced group of pool players who are thinking about the next step always, how to control the environment, how to engage with the environment. And they know that by hitting the cue ball a certain way, it's going to end up going somewhere else on purpose. So they control every bit of that. And that's what the linear function is going to do for your dancing. So there are several different schools of West Coast swing. Of course, you are taking my intensive to learn mine. So I dance in a shared slot mechanism instead of a railroad tracks or a separate slot mechanism. I'll show you the difference between these two, and I'm going to show you from a few different angles so that as you're watching this, will be best for you to see. So when we have a railroad track system, on a sugar push, it doesn't apply. We're staying in front of each other. But if I were to give my partner a left side pass, I would get out of the way and give my partner the slot. On a whip, I would give my partner the slot and give my partner the slot. When we dance this way, it's not bad. It's just not as efficient for lots of partnered movements. For example, if I were going to take an object and try and throw it to the camera, most people would step in the direction that they want to throw and then use their body to send the object. It's rare that you would take a heavy bag and go, oh, here you go. We all know that adds to lower back pain and injury. So for example, on the whip, and Tess, I'm going to have you start over here. So on the whip, if I get out of the way and I get out of the way, I cannot turn and send my partner down the line. The same way with a heavy object that I'm throwing, I wouldn't just toss it. I would want to step and go. In baseball, you step into the hit. In golf, you twist into the hit. In every sport, at the highest level, use your body impact to move. So if I'm out here, I'm going to have to cross in front to move my partner down the line. Versus if I can stay directly in front of my partner here, I can stay in the line and project my partner down the line with the attempt to be as close to one simple line of energy possible. In my shared slot, we have an infinite wide and infinite long potential slot, but what we're focusing on is not our hips to hips or shoulders to shoulders. It's simply our connected points. So from here, my elbow and Tess's elbow, that is the slot. Therefore, if I lead her down the slot, she moves into her wrist, down that slot, and back. Because you now know how to float your wrist and move to and from the wrist as a leader or follower, if I give Tess a left side pass, we can share this space using spotlighting and get so close together It could be uncomfortable if you're doing it slowly enough and you pause. But with the body flight and with the neutral connection, we'll talk about neutral in the next section, the follower is going to move on their own and the leader moves on their own. And now we have a conversation of how we are doing this. On the shared slot, yes, you're able to go off slot the same way you're able to single track, but not be single tracked. So if you remember the chapter where I talked about double tracking versus single tracking versus walking on a line single tracked, we are allowed, and actually Tess, I'm going to have you start over there. On my left side pass, I don't need to stay in the slot to turn, which I could, but instead I'm going to take the outside edge of my hip, and as long as my foot, and with the foot rolling chapter, if you remember, if I can roll through that foot past the first third of the shoe, that's going to send my energy. Then if I step out of the side of the slot, it doesn't impact my partner at all. My lead is still going in that one true line, versus if I went over here, I would lead her over here. So as long as my energy goes back, then I can step out of the way. So if you'd like more distance in your dance, that's where you're going to get it. So that's going to be for the sharing slot versus railroad technique. There's actually a couple other reasons why this is really important to differentiate between the two. In the railroad track, and Tess, I'm going to have you start over there again. If I were to lead a whip with an inside turn, if you dance in a railroad track style, it is obscenely hard to lead an acceleration on the second half of the whip. So if I wanted to go 1 and a 2, 3 and a 4, turn and go, it's a lot of pressure on the shoulder, and it can be a very awkward movement. But if I can share my slot, and then I chose to lead another acceleration, all of a sudden that becomes no problem at all, and allows my partner ways to shape and style and feel that same energy. So for leading accelerations and decelerations, leading accelerations especially, being in the closed slot is very, very important. For decelerations, you can use less energy to lead the deceleration. Most dancers lead a deceleration through shaping their body. So if I went 1 and I shape, that's going to make my partner slow down when she feels my energy slow and sees my energy slow. But I'll put you back over there. If I wanted to lead an underarm turn with a slowdown, all I have to do now is slow down the energy in my fingers. So all I had to do is tense and apply just over 2 pounds of pressure to trigger my partner's frame to go, oh, we're taking our time, we're slowing down now. And that would become whatever we want that to become. So sharing slot versus railroad. Railroad is great for specifically over showing where you want your partner to go. Tess, I'm going to have you start over there. If I stay in front of my partner on the railroad tracks, it is a sugar push or a sugar tuck, something sugar-based in front. But if I step this way, my partner knows she's going to pass me on this side. And if I step this way, she knows I'm going to pass her on that side. So when you're looking to become the best leader possible, you should have in your toolbox being able to lead the railroad technique for when you have a follower that's very visual, that doesn't really have a good command of our dance yet. But in general, it's going to be such a better conversation when you can dance not only distance, but also close. Like the fighters, they're going to be like in here and long range. It's a lot more versatile than all the way out there. Okay, now we're going to talk about connection, 3 connection types: neutral, constant, and ramping. I'm going to show you what each of these are and show you how I personally prefer to use and when I prefer to use each of the 3. So let's start with neutral. Neutral for years has been my favorite. Neutral involves having a stretch where we are moving away from each other. The leader traditionally will break that stretch by increasing the tension and then let go of the connection completely, engage the connection to allow for compression to happen, disengage, and then re-engage. This is by far my favorite way to follow because I feel like I have the most freedom. And it's my favorite way to lead because to me it allows for more possibilities in our conversation. On a whip, I would lead my partner and release the energy, catch the energy, send, release, and then catch. I wouldn't do that by physically releasing from my partner, but I do that by releasing my frame and floating my wrist. What you have learned thus far could be considered in the camp of neutral connection for West Coast swing. On a traveling turn, for example, a double outside roll, in a neutral connection, I lead, I'm touching my partner, but I'm not leading my partner. The theory that says if my partner is led to travel, that partner will continue to travel. If she's led to travel and rotate, she's going to travel and rotate. So the lead that I just gave Tess right there was super light in terms of I didn't add to her rotation. Right here, all I did was lift up. Her rotation was already continuing, and my job is to post and then stretch into an anchor, and that's it. So this is a very relaxed and easy way of dance. Constant connection was the way I danced, and I chose to dance before neutral. In constant, there to me is the aggressive control where I am telling my partner where to go every step of the way. I really like this connection style as a follower because it makes me feel very almost like, is it swaddling where a big blanket is put around you and you're like, oh, it feels good because I can be more along for the ride and create based on strongly what the leader is going to create. But again, I wouldn't want to dance that way all the time as a follower because it's just telling me one thing. It doesn't let me speak.
Some music too.
Yeah, for the music as well. So, but reasons I do like to use constant connection. Tess, I'm going to start you over here. If I dance a neutral style and we share this slot, just because it's a super awesome, efficient line doesn't mean it's artistic, right? Just because you have lines doesn't mean you want to color outside the lines. Go to town, color anywhere you want, right? This is art. So if I were to have a stiffer frame, and let's say Tess and I are dancing a neutral style, I could still use constant to bend this frame and push her outside the line and come directly back into the line. Like I actually have to move out of this slot to talk to you because we're sharing that slot. Constant frame is also really good for decelerations, especially as a follower who wants to slow down the leader. So if I'm over eager, or if I'm ahead of the music, let's say I lead an underarm turn, with constant frame, if Tess pushes up and increases her frame, now I am following her because she is giving me what I respond to, which is complete constant. Now, both those camps are awesome. You're going to use both of those whenever you feel like it's called for. I love neutral because I feel it's not overpowering for the follower, and it allows me to feel more of what they want. But ramping is a really good combination of both of those. Now, with neutral, if we started with 2 pounds of pressure, when I release, it goes down to 0 quickly, then it builds back up to the 2 pounds, then it releases, and then it goes back 0 to 2, but it goes. A ramping pressure would be if we're both pulling with 2 pounds of pressure. Then as soon as I start to move her with a positive lead and Tess accepts and starts to come forward, now it's down to a 1. So I'm still pulling on the second moment, but it's less. We're both pulling less. Then in order to share the slot, we both move into our wrists. Now we're down to 0. Now I go into the 1, then I go into the 2, and then we have our anchor and our agreed upon triple step with that compression. So ramping is where you're going in a more 45-degree angle, 0 to 1 to 2. And neutral is where you get right down to 0 as soon as possible once the lead is done. So all three of these systems are a great way to dance. You're going to use them for different musicality purposes, acceleration, deceleration, how much floor space you have. And for the basics that I'm showing you in this intensive, I'm going to treat constant and ramping both as possibilities, but the basic connection fundamentals that my platform is based on are for the neutral platform. So the reason why my foundations for West Coast swing are more in the camp of the neutral connection is simply because I feel that to become the best conversationalist, you should be able to talk and listen when it's called for. Yeah. And if you dance constant connection, you're more used to only talking. As a follower, if Tess had a stiff frame because she's used to dancing with constant connection leaders, she won't be able to dance neutral. So if her frame is rigid and I give her a left side pass, she's going to go around me and create like a semicircle. Or I have to get way out of the way to give her that space. But if a follower is used to dancing neutral and moves into her own wrist and away from her wrist and has that 0 degree in the middle, that zero pressure, then if I choose to go constant because I want to bend the frame, like this is a huge change, it has more impact. So if a leader and follower has neutral as a base or the ability to do that, then you can dance anything. That's for your versatility.
I broke your heart, then you broke mine. So I guess the punishment fits the crime. But baby, I've been thinking lately that I've done my time. So I'll say a fond farewell, and what the future holds, well, nobody can tell. But at least I learned a thing or two from living through this hell. We kept on running, and I kept on coming. When I should have been leaving, the funny thing is I still believe in us. But I've been shaking like a candle in the wind, and I've been acting like a stranger to my friends. And I'd do anything to get my fix, but I've got to kick this addiction. You become my heroine. Now I had hopes that you were coming around, but you get me high, then you let me down. And for far too long I have played this clown. So this game of cat and mouse is coming to an end, 'cause I'm sick and tired and can't pretend. Baby, I don't wanna be your friend. Well, you kept on running, and I kept on coming. When I should have been leaving, the funny thing is I still believe in us. But I've been shaking like a candle in the wind, and I've been acting like a stranger to my friends. And I'd do anything to get my fix, but I've got to. What if we were lost at sea, on a boat, just you and me? No cell phones and no society, and the world just let us be. We could sleep all through the morning, talk all through the afternoon, and dance all night under the silver moon. Oh, yeah, yeah. I feel your body sway, I'm lost at sea. Your waves come crashing over me. lost at sea. Oh, oh, oh. I'm lost at sea. I'm lost at sea. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Me and you, yeah, just us two, sailing off into the blue. I only wanna be the skipper if you'll be my crew. We'll find places we never knew. Then we'll sleep all through the morning, talk all through the afternoon, and dance all night under the silver moon. Ooh, yeah. I feel your body sway. I'm lost at sea. Your waves come. I broke your heart, then you broke mine. So I guess the punishment fits the crime. But baby, I've been thinking lately that I've done my time. So I say a fond farewell, and what the future holds, well, nobody can tell. But at least I learned a thing or two from living through this hell. We kept on running, and I kept on coming. When I should have been leaving, the funny thing is I still believe in us. But I've been shaking like a candle in the wind, and I've been acting like a stranger to my friends. And I'd do anything to get my fix, but I got to kick this addiction. You become my heroine. Now I had hopes that you were coming around, but you keep me high, then you let me down. And for far too long, I have played this clown. So this game of cat and mouse is coming to an end, 'cause I'm sick and tired and can't pretend. Baby, I don't wanna be your friend. You kept on running, and I kept on coming. When I should have been leaving, the funny thing is I still believe in us. But I've been shaking like a candle in the wind, and I've been acting like a stranger to my friends.
Lazing in the shade on some September day, underneath the willow tree, with me. Floating down the blade, colored leaves on parade, but it don't mean anything to me. 'Cause ever since you went away, all I've got's a memory of where we were lazing in the shade. I still remember how we used to find familiar faces in the sky, exchanging glances about how we've got it made. Now they're only asking why. I got trouble on my mind. Trouble, oh, trouble. Lord knows it's the only thing I seem to find. Trouble to the left, trouble to the right. Trouble in the day, trouble in the night. Trouble for miles, trouble for days. Trouble in 100 ways. I got trouble. Trouble in my mind. Every morning when I wake up, I got trouble in my makeup. It's jumping around my brain, it's pumping through my veins. I got a rumor in my mind. It's crawling on my skin, it's hiding in the wind. I know 1,000 ways to die. I need you now, I got a sick need.
All right, so I know I've covered this previously in this intensive, but we're going to go a little more in depth now. And I'm going to talk about when the post happens in our dance and what I mean by the terms chase or drive. All right, so let's start with our sugar push. Now on our sugar push, we have a 1 and a 2. We have a compression leading a triple step, and we're both moving in the same direction on beat 4. Watch that again slowly. If I go a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4, we can all agree, looking at where my weight is, on 4 I am moving forward, and on 4 Tess is moving backwards. By the time we shift our weight away from each other to create the post, it's now 4 and then our triples developed 5 and 6. So for this intensive, please know that as a base rule, the post is going to happen on the and after a number. So for example, on a whip, it would be 6 and. On a sugar push, it would be 4 and if we're talking patterns and not musical dancing. So on a sugar push, it would be and a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 5 and a 6 and a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 5 and a 6 and a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 5 and a 6 and a 7 and a 8. By hitting that post, leaders, the most important thing about hitting a post is not to release it because your hand grip is too weak. This happens all the time. We're going to move up towards this camera and show you what I mean. Watch our hands on this sugar push. A 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and. Now watch my fingers. 5 and a 6. Leaders are guilty of going from here to here. This much space, those 3 inches, that tells the follower, you got to go backwards. It's as if we haven't posted at all. And it feels like your lifeline is being cut. Like you're like, I need that tension. So leaders, we're going to do the stop drill for the post. And it looks like this. A 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4, stop. So on 4 and, my hips are going back. My weight was on my left and it's about to go to my right. Look down where your left foot is. And I'm going to recommend, freeze right there for a second, Tess, Minnick. I'm going to recommend that everyone takes a prop, a Post-it note, a pen, whatever have you. Okay, I'm going to use this pen because the Post-its are the same color as the floor. So if I'm here on beat 4, I'm going to put that pen in line with my toe. Then on my 5 and 6, I'm going to notice that my toe and my hand are in alignment. So if I can stay in place and my hand can stay in place, I have a perfect upright post. If we hit this on 4 and on 5 and a 6, I stay in place, but I disengage my lat. Or I stay in place, but I disengage my fingers Tess is going backwards going, where is the connection? So leaders, you're going to take your red solo cup or your pen or your Post-it, whatever you're going to do, mark on 4 where your shoe touches it. If you have a beautiful hardwood floor studio like mine, you choose a knot on the ground. I use these knots when I teach here so that I know I'm going to that knot and I'm not going to go past it. Get it? Not go past it. Da-da. Tess is like, give me a mic. Oh, I'll laugh. Okay. So now, chase and drive. Let's talk about those terms. Over the decades of West Coast swing evolution, we've used both of these terms. One is primarily for the leader and one is primarily for the follower. So here's how it works. When we're moving into our post, let's again use our sugar push, but I'll use the left side in a second. A 1 and a 2 and a 3 and. Right here for the leaders, this used to be called, or is called, the drive, where my goal is to push off my sending leg, move on to my receiving leg, and apply a positive lead, adding more pressure to allow my follower to go backwards. For the follower, this was called drive. A 1 and a 2, 3 and, where the follower would load into their left leg and push using the glute and powering backwards. So this was a really good way of describing how in a partnership, you can empower yourself, engage yourself, and move yourself, even though at the time, constant connection was the primary form of connection. So if we have 1 and a 2, 3 and 4, and when we move back, we have our 5 and 6. Now, say it with me. I'm going to do drive, and then I'm going to use Tess's voice, or she'll talk through the louder mic, and say, she was going to say drive, and I'm going to say chase. 7 and 8. A 1 and a 2, 3 and a chase. Triple step. A 1 and a 2, 3 and a drive. Triple step. Now on a left side pass, this would be the same thing. Anytime, in fact, here's how it works. Anytime you're about to move into an anchor, this works. When do we not go into an anchor in West Coast? There's always going to be an anchor, otherwise it's not West Coast swing. So on a left side pass, 1 and a 2, 3 and a drive chase. On our whip, 3 and a 4, 5 drive chase, triple step. Underarm turn, 3 drive chase, triple step. We're now going to dance a few basics. I'm going to count them with a rolling count that you learned in a previous section. And I'd like you to just really focus on our hip area and our lats and our hands to see where our post is, on what count it is. And let's see if you can tell which of these are actually posted on beat 4 instead of 4 and. A 5 and a 6 and a 7 and a 8 and a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 5 and a 6 and a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 5 and a 6 and a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4, 5 and a 6 and a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 5 and a 6. As I was counting those and we danced, did you have an emotional feel difference watching one versus the other? And maybe it was because of the vocals, because I counted it. But otherwise, you should have seen more stop-start, which can be beautiful. And that was in the connection on 4, versus more of the flow, full body flight, which was in the 4 and. So, as I'm talking about chase drive and switching sides, if I were to move my body in opposition to my partners, where I add a positive lead and then I still move away, that's how we can initiate a post on beat 4. So on a sugar push, this is how I did it in the last little piece. A 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4. Did you notice my footwork? Earlier in this course, I was directing the leaders to start in 3rd position, do a sugar push and be in 3rd position, and then go back to 3rd position. But if I'm planning on scrolling my body, which I'll talk about in a second, 1 and a 2, if I go behind and I step her back and me back, that means that now we can have our post on 4, develop the anchor on the 5 and the 6. On a left side pass, I would lead on 1 and start moving in opposition on 2, 3, and moving to the side on 4, increasing a pull pressure, which is now our post, for our 5 and 6. So you should be able to use both the dynamics for the switch sides versus the chase drive. But again, if the chase drive is your base, then you can always dance the switch sides, but it doesn't work the other way. All right, so now let's talk about spotlighting. Now I know I covered it briefly in an earlier section, but now we're gonna just dive more in depth. Synchronized diving. Dive way more into spotlighting. So I'm gonna start with the work for the followers, and Tess is gonna lead me as I walk through this. So we're gonna start with a left side pass. Now on this left side pass, followers, right now you're moving towards which direction? The answer is your own wrist, because my wrist moved forward, I moved to my wrist, not where my partner's body is. From here, I see my partner rotating her body as leader, and she's also slightly out of my way. So that means I know I'm gonna be spotlighting my partner, so I'm gonna release my right heel and start to cross on beat 2. At this point, I'm moving into my wrist and I'm spotlighting my partner, by meaning that if a spotlight was coming out of my stomach and also came out of my low back, that would be facing my leader's axis. And as you learned earlier, it doesn't matter if her axis is, if she's facing this way or if she's facing that way or that way. Her axis hasn't changed. Only her 2 dimensions have changed. So here I'm facing my partner's axis. Now as I travel down this left side pass, notice that I stay sideways. Now, why do I do that? So many schools of West Coast swing say, as a follower, I move, I face my partner, and I drive backwards instead of driving sideways. I find that when I do that, it's much harder to maintain body flight since I have a 180 rotation of my hips as a follower. So the only time that it's necessary to face my partner in spotlight is the moment I pass my leader. Therefore, once I pass here on 3, if I stay sideways and cross my left over my right on my triple step, I can have the perfect body flight that puts me into a torque position post. Posts done in torque position here are easier to get to and easier to maintain than posts in a square position. I think that's pretty cool. So if we do an underarm turn, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Just by combing my hair and moving sideways away from my wrist allows me to be in a non-double tracked axis post position that now allows me not only to just open my hips and do a triple plane anchor, I can also take this angle and use this angle within my post, or use an away and a towards and a crossing. So we can get more depth and more texture into your dancing by only applying spotlighting to the moment that you have to pass your partner, the moment that you get to pass your partner. On a whip, we can almost envision this whip. Again, Tess is leading, I'm following. We can almost envision this whip as 2 clockwise turns for the follower. On the first half of the whip, we have a rotation and a turn. On the second half, if we think of this as a rotation as well, 5, 6, that puts me into this torque position where then I can 5 and 6 triple, turn my hips open, do a Lindy Hop swivel. Those are things that are all prepped from that. And if that's your base, you have twice as much inertia in your dance wound up that you can then use, whereas other people who stay in a basic third, they won't have that. Now, as a leader, so Doug's now leading, Tess is back to being the perfect follower. When I spotlight my partner, at the moment that I pass them, if I want, I do this when I want to share the space. So for example, on a whip, Tess, I'm gonna have you start over there. On a whip, if I got out of my partner's way, it would be irrelevant if I used spotlighting because there's tons of distance between us. But if we're going to stay where you can't see Tess right now, see there she is. And if we're going to stay this tight, what I have to do is turn my body to face my partner and turn my body at the same time as my partner, like gears in a clock. The whip I'm going to explain to y'all in the next section called Advanced Whip. That's in the Slot Theory chapter, but stay tuned for that. Also as a leader, if I'm going to, Tess, I'll start over here now. If I'm going to bring my partner behind me, if I'm going to lead, let's say, a behind the back Maxence whip, I was going to lead that. I'll show you how this works with slot sharing. Tess, I'll have you start over there. So the Maxence whip, if I move out of the slot, my shoulder starts to go away and I have to take lots of big steps, and you can see the body shaping when that happens. You can do that, it's just not as easy. So instead, Tess, I'm going to have you on that side. If I can turn my back to my partner, see how tight we are here? The distance between our bodies here is the same as if we were going to be in closed position going to a whip. But most leaders, as soon as we turn our back to our follower, realize we can't see them, we don't know where they are, and it scares us a little bit. So what my original coaches did in Lindy Hop is we did drills where we would always know where our partner's weight was by feel. So it would be, okay, let's say I turn my back and I use my forearm against my partner's forearm, and she settles her weight to one side or the other, I know exactly what foot she's on so that I could prep her and move her somewhere else. So it's a matter of knowing your partner's body mechanics and your own body mechanics as well. Spotlight is such a key, it's necessary so that we are able to share space. In an earlier chapter, I talked about acceleration. Actually, that's this chapter. And without spotlighting, acceleration doesn't happen as well. That's our spotlighting. Okay, so let's go over bendable frame. Now, bendable frame was a topic that I briefly touched upon, but now it's time to go way into the frame. So Tess, I'm going to take them through some of the basics here. So we're going to start with the walking drill, and I'm going to come up here so that you can watch my frame. So if I walk forward with my frame in place, and I walk backwards with my frame in place, it looks like I'm walking very stiffly. But if I don't change my gait, but I just change the bendability of my arms, all of a sudden, I have body flight for West Coast swing. But nothing's changed in my heel-toe walk or the size of my steps. So this is a bendable frame that we want to make sure that if we just bring our arms actually down where our shoulder blades pinch together, is going to be too far for us. At the same time, if you shake out your arms and leave them down, if your hands are in front of your thighs, we do need to pull our shoulder blades back so that our hands can swing, and that means our posture is going to be upright, provided that we then pull our ears back. So on this bendable frame, the goal is for me to place the back of my watch against my lower ribs. Now, our ribs wrap all the way around, and right here, I'm actually going to touch my watch to my ribs. I teach this workshop all over the world, and I have to walk around these groups of dancers and physically move every leader's arm because it's too far out. So wear a watch that you like and make sure that it's touching your ribs. So now let's go over bendable frame for leaders basics. I'm going to walk you through all of these. On a sugar push, I'm in third foot position. My frame is in front of me and I can see my elbow pit. As I move backwards, I keep my arms parallel to the ground. I do not drop them down. And I absorb my follower's energy. I do it through the palm of my hand, not through my fingers. That allows me to maintain this. If you do it through the fingers, which are weaker than the palm, it makes more sense to drop your hands to get that tension to then send using different back muscles. But to use core muscles, I'm here with my arms in parallel, 3 and then I move forward with my frame pretty much frozen. Then I'm either going to drive my follower backwards if I'm using a drifting post, or I have 1, 2, 3, and my arms move on 4, adding pressure, and then I keep it there for a stationary post. The stationary post I talked about earlier is where you have your toe and your hand in alignment, and then nothing is allowed to move forward. The biggest failure on that, by the way, is 1, 2, 3, and 4. Leader moves forward without the intention of moving forward. Bendable frame for the leader on the whip. So leaders, we have back, and I'm going to, as my basic, I go back and I cross, and this cross, if you notice here, is parallel to my left foot. Most leaders will go back, cross. This is not cross, this is side forward cross. So for me, it's back, back, cross. Then I can float my wrist in easily to my ribs 3 and 4. On my 3 and 4, my wrist is still stuck here. So actually, Tess, can I borrow you again for a sec? We're going to move closer so you can see the hands. And I'm going to start you over here. Watch just my wrist on 4, leaders. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Do you see how it's still pulled in here? Versus having the hands split between our bodies. The hands are split between means you are not using this bendable frame. Okay? And as long as Tess is here. On the second part, so my wrist is here. The really amazing reason to float your wrist here is most followers, if we just look at approximately what followers do all over the world, they see a leader in front of them, and on a whip, they don't want to walk into the leader. They walk at about a 5-degree angle past the leader. So if Tess goes 5 degrees past the leader, I can still do my floating the wrist. But if Tess starts to move even farther out, floating the wrist is what corrals her in. If I'm the leader, then instead of doing that, if I have a constant connection and Tess goes 10 degrees out, all of a sudden I can't catch her because I'm too far from her. So allowing your wrist to come directly in is a way to expedite where your follower is going. Thank you, Tess. Okay, bendable frame for the leaders. So now we have wrist to the ribs, hold it there, a 5, now release it 6, 7, and 8. From this side, back 1, back cross, float the wrist 2, 3, and 4. And now we're going to do the look hug technique. The look hug technique goes like this. I'm going to look to the right, I'm going to hug my partner, and I'm going to rotate my body to then release the wrist that was attached to my ribs. 1 and 2, 3 and 4. Look to my right, hug, and pivot. 6, 7, and 8. What does the look hug do? Tess, Minnick. I'm going to start you over there. And we're going to back up to right there. We go 1 and 2, 3, and 4. If I'm facing Tess, Minnick, and I bring her directly towards me, we're getting really, really close. So to be less awkward with that, I turn my head to the right. What that also does is as I pivot, it allows me to bring my body through and do a spot turn more easily. So leaders, the first thing you're going to do is look to your right. Second thing you're going to do is hug your partner to your chest. As you do that, realize that they are transferring their weight to their right foot. Leaders, at this moment is when you transfer your weight to your left foot. If you have danced railroad technique and you're here on 4, that's now going to be in front of your partner with no weight on 4. Then I look to the right, I hug, I pivot, and I send. Now, as long as you're here, Tess, Minnick, if we dance in a constant frame on our whip, let's watch Tess's hips. She usually fights not to have turn in, but if I lead like this, I can get her to have turn in.
No!
This is how, unfortunately, most leaders with constant frame don't rotate their follower to send them. Instead, what happens is that Tess's right foot here, which never has turn in, if the weight's committed and I bring her to the side, lots of times this happens where there's no pivot. Ooh, I can't even see that on camera. There's no pivot, and so we get this angle on the 4 to 5 of a whip. But if you use the look hug technique leaders and integrate into that a positive lead, a negative rotational lead, and then a positive lead with your right hand on the follower's back with your fingers spread, it's going to feel amazing and look amazing. Thank you, Tess.
You're welcome.
Okay, so bendable frame for the leaders. As I'm leading any turns, I want to think about everything being inside here as if I were a fighter trying to defend and not reach. So for example, on an underarm turn, I'll get closer so you can see this hip here. On an underarm turn, I'm not pushing my follower out of the slot and I'm not moving out of the slot. I'm going to keep everything directly here within my chest. This gets uncomfortable at first because it feels like you're too close. But once you get over that, it's going to work really, really well. Now, on the bendable frame, I'm going to be showing the followers a few things now. And for my assistant, instead of Tess Minnick, I'm going to use a red solo cup. So, on our sugar push, ignore the cup. Followers, you're moving into your wrist, pressing forward in 3 and driving back, move away from your wrist. And as long as you think about moving away from your wrist consistently, that simply means you're going to be having a stretch. A huge complaint about followers who are not at an advanced level, not advanced competitively, just dancers who don't understand this. The followers go 3 and 4. They move away from their wrist, and then they move towards their wrist on their 6th, the last step of the anchor. As long as a follower, you're always thinking, move your abs away from your wrist until you're told otherwise, that's what's going to fix you. Or help you, I should say. Now on a left side pass, we're going to be using the red solo cup for a footwork drill. So as I step forward, toe tracing, heel toe on my 1, you're going to put the red solo cup next to your heel. From there, on one end, I'm going to pivot and move that cup. Then I'm going to cross on 2 in the slot. From here, I travel sideways 3, 4, and then I'm going to open for my 5 and a 6. Now, what does this cup do? What does this drill do? And I'll show you. If I were to go forward, forward, and then try and turn, I'm going to have to turn and move cross or perpendicular slot. Just the body mechanics. So if my first step is next to this red solo cup, if I can pivot that cup, means my hips have turned, my leg has released, my working leg, and then I'm allowed to move across and spotlight and stay in the slot. On my whip, followers, we're going to do this in the other direction. So I move into my 1, I step into my 2, and that's when I pivot to go back on my 3 and 4. Side note, this is sort of fun. That was pretty cool. The difference between Lindy Hop and West Coast Swing is this. In West Coast Swing, which is a slower dance than Lindy Hop, where it grew out of, in open position, when a follower comes in for a whip, when they walk forward and forward, they pivot their hips and so the right foot goes back and not cross. So a whip would be a 1 and a 2 and a back and hold, or back and forward, or back and back. And then finishing our 5, 6, 7, and 8. In Lindy Hop, our anchor is a swivel. So this position here is a 3rd foot position that goes that way. So I'm prepped to go that way. So I go 7 and 8. My leader pulls me that way, but my energy goes that way, so I have turnout. My second step is an echo of that, which means my third step into a whip or a swing out, this foot goes in front because it hugs that perfect line. And that's the difference between Lindy and West Coast Swing. The faster we move, in fact, I'll show you from this way. The faster we move, the more our knees bend. So this goes to this, goes to this. Versus in West Coast Swing, this goes to this, goes to this, because of that line of movement. Now, I'm going to have Tess Minnick jump back in, and I'm going to show you guys what the bendable frame looks, a nice jump, what the bendable frame looks like when we dance. So let's start with a non-bendable. Our frames are now stiff. We're going to have to get out of the way of each other, one of us or the other. Still a fun dance. Dancing with Tess Minnick is always super fun. Okay, now let's go to bendable frame. You should notice a smoothness difference. You should notice how accelerations are easier to use, how decelerations are easier as well. And as long as you can dance bendable, when you social dance and someone dances with non-bendable, you'll be a frickin' rock star.
You have that smile, and you have those eyes, but you're not just a pretty face. That's just the outside. I've dug a little deeper, and I found so much more to adore. Have you noticed everything you are is gorgeous? Sometimes I have a one-track mind, it's true. It's like I go blind, and I can't see anything except you. As I grow ever fonder, I have pondered what's in store, and I know what for. Have you noticed everything you are is gorgeous? Everything you are. What if we were lost at sea on a boat, just you and me? No cell phones and no society, and the world just let us be. We could sleep all through the morning, talk all through the afternoon, and dance all night under the silver moon. Oh, yeah, yeah. I feel your body sway, I'm lost at sea. Waves come crashing over me. Lost at sea. Oh, oh, oh. I'm lost at sea. I'm lost at sea. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Me and you, yeah, just us two, sailing off into the blue. I only wanna be the skipper if you'll be my crew. We'll find places we never knew. Then we'll sleep all through the morning, talk all through the afternoon, and dance all night under the silver moon. Oh, yeah. I feel your body sway, I'm lost at sea. Your waves come. I broke your heart, then you broke mine, so I guess the punishment fits the crime. But baby, I've been thinking lately that I've done my time. So I say a fond farewell, and what the future holds, well, nobody can tell. But at least I learned a thing or two from living through this hell. when I should have been leaving. The funny thing is I still believe in us, but I've been shaking like a candle in the wind, and I've been acting like a stranger to my friends, and I'd do anything to get my fix, but I got to kick this addiction. You become my heroine. Now I had hopes that you were coming around, but you gave me high, then you let me down, and for far too long I have played this clown. So this game of cat and mouse is coming to an end, 'cause I'm sick and tired and can't pretend. Baby, I don't wanna be your friend. You kept on running, and I kept on coming, when I should have been leaving. The funny thing is I still believe in us, but I've been shaking like a candle in the wind, and I've been acting like a stranger to my friends.
Lazy in the shade on some September day, underneath the willow tree with me. Floating down the blade, colored leaf on parade, but it don't mean anything to me. 'Cause ever since you went away, all I've got's a memory of where we were lazing in the shade. I still remember how we used to find familiar faces in the sky, exchanging glances about how we've got it made. Now they're only asking why. Mama, trouble, sweet trouble. I got trouble on my mind. Trouble, oh, trouble. God knows it's the only thing I seem to find. Trouble to the left, trouble to the right, trouble in the day, trouble in the night, trouble for miles, trouble for days, trouble in 100 ways. I got trouble, trouble in my mind. Every morning when I wake up, I got trouble in my makeup. It's jumping around my brain, it's pumping through my veins. I got a rumor in my mind, it's crawling on my skin. I got a sick knees.
Okay, so now we're going to talk about doubles and triples within confines, or within patterns, and in relation to something called triple step rearranging and center separation. So welcome to some of my favorite terminology. Now, if we were to say West Coast swing is a basic 6-beat pattern, again, I hate this language, but a basic 6-beat pattern, the rhythm structure for the follower starting right foot and the leader starting left foot would look like this. We go walk, walk, triple step, walk, walk, triple step. And then, of course, usually what happens is we do that ad nauseum to get our dedicated time and rhythm into our body. So we put on music and walk around the room and go walk, walk, triple step, walk, walk, triple step. Oh, my bad. Drilling our 6s, drilling our 8s, and you would just get that time into your body because you need those reps. So we do that, and we get to a certain level of dance. Then what we realize is just because the leader chooses to dance constant and chooses to tell my follower when to do a triple step or when to do a walk, walk, doesn't mean Tess does not have complete freedom to do whatever she wants at any point in time. The easiest way to have this in an artistic conversation is through the use of triple step rearranging and center separation. Triple step rearranging, let's take our 6-beat for example, a double, triple, triple, and instead of going 1, 2 as a walk, walk, 3 and 4 as a triple, and 5 and 6 as a triple, which I'm going to do as the basic, Tess is going to do triple step, walk, walk. She's just going to reverse it. 5, 6, 7, and 8. 1, 2, 3, and 4, 5, and 6. So if you notice, we ended at the same time. She was interpreting the music her way, and I was interpreting it mine. And we're not touching, so great. But when we do touch, it's usually more felt that if I do a triple step, I'm going to lead her into a triple step. And now I'm going to show you how we do all that without the body. So, okay, so the goal is to have a TheraBand or a stretch band, and you're going to be using this around an inanimate object if you're on your own, but hopefully you'd have an animate object with a voice who can tell you when you're doing something that is too strong or too light. But we're going to pretend for right now that Tess is an inanimate object. As I put this around her, you can see that if I maintain what I'm calling 2 pounds of stretch, if I release it with my arm, she either steps back or it loops. If I come in with my body and my arm, it steps down and loops. But I'm able to move around her, keeping that tension. So now, the goal is to, number 1, step closer to your partner or the wall or whatever it's your harness to. And 2 is not let this tension change. Center separation is where I can camouflage my center into any part of my body. Right now it's in my lat going through to my hand grip. Now it's in my bicep going through to my hand grip. Now it's my forearm, and now it's just in my hand. So try this out. And the goal is to be able to move straight forward and release tension backwards. But if you were to take a tension scale and measure this tension, it should not waver. All right. So with that in mind, now the goal is to be able to do this with different rhythms. So I can move forward with cha-cha-cha-cha-cha-cha-cha. I can move forward with walk, walk. I can move forward with any different rhythms as I do this. More on center separation later. But, all right. So with that in mind, now we're going to do center separation all together. So I'm just going to make this up as we go along, but we can do either double, triple, 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 double, triple, or triple, triple, double. So Tess, Minnick, you do triple, triple, double.
Love it.
I'm going to do triple, double, triple, and we're going to dance a sugar push. 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Because we both use center separation, it felt like a normal sugar push. You go to your wrist, you go away from your wrist, you have your body flight, and center separation means you can camouflage what you're doing. Tess Minnick is one of the most honest people I know. Go ahead and give me 2 pounds of stretch and close your eyes. When you stay tuned for the center separation chapter, she's not feeling anything at all. I can move forwards, I can move backwards, I can leave the slot, I can change my height, I can jump. So stay tuned for center separation. Now let's try in a whip. We'll all do this together. Let's do a whip with triple, double, triple, double. 5, 6, 7, 8, triple step, double, triple step, double. And it's going to work as long as your center separation works. Triple step rearranging is a great way to be able to use different footwork for staccato or legato movements, but more on that in the musicality chapter.
You have that smile, and you have those eyes, but you're not just a pretty face. That's just the outside. I've dug a little deeper, and I found so much more to adore. Have you noticed everything you are is gorgeous? Sometimes I have a one-track mind, it's true. It's like I go blind, and I can't see anything except you. As I grow ever fonder, I have pondered what's in store, and I know what for. But have you noticed everything you are is gorgeous? Everything you are. What if we were lost at sea on a boat, just you and me? No cell phones and no society, and the world just let us be. We could sleep all through the morning, talk all through the afternoon, and dance all night under the silver moon. Oh, yeah, yeah. I feel your body sway, I'm lost at sea. Waves come crashing over me. Lost at sea. Oh, oh, oh. I'm lost at sea. I'm lost at sea. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Me and you, yeah, just us two, sailing off into the blue. I only wanna be the skipper if you'll be my crew. We'll find places we never knew. Then we'll sleep all through the morning, talk all through the afternoon, and dance all night under the silver moon. Oh, yeah, I feel your body sway, I'm lost at sea. Your waves come. I broke your heart, then you broke mine, so I guess the punishment fits the crime. But baby, I've been thinking lately that I've done my time. So I say a fond farewell, and what the future holds, well, nobody can tell. But at least I learned a thing or two from living through this hell. We kept on running, and I kept on coming. When I should have been leaving, the funny thing is I still believe in us. But I've been shaking like a candle in the wind, and I've been acting like a stranger to my friends. And I'd do anything to get my fix, but I got to kick this addiction. You become my heroine. Now I had hopes that you were coming around, but you get me high, then you let me down. And for far too long I have played this clown. So the skinny cat and mouse is coming to an end, 'cause I'm sick and tired and can't pretend. Baby, I don't wanna be your friend. You kept on running, and I kept on coming. When I should have been leaving, the funny thing is I still believe in us. But I've been shaking like a candle in the wind, and I've been acting like a stranger to my friends.
Lazing in the shade on some September day, underneath the willow tree with me. Floating down the blade, colored leaf on parade, but it don't mean anything to me. 'Cause ever since you went away, all I've got's a memory of where we were lazing in the shade. I still remember how we used to find familiar faces in the sky, exchanging glances about how we've got it made. Now they're only asking why. Mama, trouble, sweet trouble. I got trouble on my mind. Trouble, oh, trouble. God knows it's the only thing I seem to find. Trouble to the left, trouble to the right, trouble in the day, trouble in the night, trouble for miles, trouble for days, trouble in 100 ways. I got trouble, trouble, my mind. I got trouble in my makeup. It's jumping around my brain, it's pumping through my veins. I got a rumor in my mind. It's crawling on my skin, it's howling in the wind. I know 1,000 ways to die. I need you now, I got a sick knees.
Okay, so now let's talk about slot shaping, which is an integral part of slot theory. I have all these beautiful boards on the floor of my studio, these 5-inch boards. And the goal is to take this linear energy and be able to move it to a different place in the studio. But we can think about it when we find a new slot, we have these polarizing forces that want to go with the grain of the wood or perpendicular. So we can change our slot and go this direction. So to show you what I mean, we're going to be starting with slot shaping that goes to the right and left, and we're going to do everything together. So we're going to do this together in a second. 3 and 4, 5 and 6, where we're drifting even off camera because we've been able to move so far to my right and her left. But if you notice, as we're doing this, our bodies are actually moving together, and down here in this camera, you can see that our toes are actually in alignment. So how does this work? Well, I'm going to show you from my good side here to explain. If I keep my neutral frame with my connection, and I keep only a pull pressure, and I move to the right, I will go farther than Tess every time. The reason I will go farther than Tess every time is because I have not pre-led her. Let's move up closer to the camera. Zooming in order to pre-lead my elbow that is now currently in perfect alignment with her elbow has to move out, just a little bit out. Tess's arm is going to stay where it is, and there's no feel difference. But if I can apply a sideways energy pressure with my index finger against her pinky wall, that will put us not only moving sideways together, but exactly in line with our feet every time. Try that so the pressure is index finger pushing in. Versus if we only have a pull energy this way, and I move to the right, she will be almost dragged behind me. The goal is to know to send your partner at the moment that you're going, and the angle of your elbow leaders will dictate the angle of where your partner goes. So you need to practice with a partner and get honest feedback, and then take that to a professional coach, because sometimes your partner is, just saying stuff. Yeah. But if you need an honest opinion on how it feels, especially if your control group is not a wide variety of people. So we have our elbow that cocks out to the side as we have our sideways drive. Then if we use the short slot method, meaning I'm not going to be chasing my partner, but I'm changing directions. If we do, I'm going to start way back here. If we do a left side pass, keep our constant, and on 4, I move to my new left, it looks like this. 1, 2, 3, and 4, 5, and 6. We were able to approach using that constant connection and the ability to create a pivot point and then swing our body's energy through. So that's a different way to slot to the left. Now we're going to talk about some letters, and these letters are, the first one is I. Sugar push, straight forward, and straight backward. Oh, sorry, we need this angle. So an I is where you can't see Tess, but we're dancing a sugar push. Then we have an L. An L is where I cock out my elbow to the left on beat 4E, and then we drive to the side. But if I only lead Tess and I don't move, you can see the angle has now changed. So when we do this together, because you won't be able to see Tess here, and you won't be able to see Tess here, just know that I'm leading that with the elbow cock, and that letter is, what letter is that? L. Sorry, that's the letter L. We're drawing a giant L on the dance floor. Then we have the letter V. The letter V is going to go this way and then that way. So on a sugar push, we would have a 1 and a 2, a 3 and a 4, and then we settle back into our new slot. Now, how do we determine that angle? And this has to do with my elbows changing where they go. So check this out. 1 and a 2, 3 and a 4, that's my basic sugar. On the L, 3 and 4 and 5 and 6. On the V, 1 and a 2, 3. On 3, I switch both my elbows to the side so that now our new energy line is going to go on a diagonal. I then rotate to engage back into my slot, and I can develop my post and my anchor. So this is the V. You can see how many boards you move across and what angle is going to affect what the distance. So this is something that you'll be working on quite a bit. Then we have rotational slot shaping. Rotational slot shaping is where we engage a constant frame in order to create a bent point. Simply meaning, if I freeze my frame when I'm normally in neutral, and Tess, I'm going to start you over here. Let's do neutral frame first. A neutral frame whip. All of a sudden, if I kick it into constant, I can rotationally bend my partner. Knowing where those energy trails are going allows you to create those shapes within the dance.
I broke your heart, then you broke mine. So I guess the punishment fits the crime. But baby, I've been thinking lately that I've done my time. So I'll say a fond farewell, and what the future holds, well, nobody can tell. But at least I learned a thing or two from living through this hell. We kept on running, and I kept on coming. When I should have been leaving, the funny thing is I still believe in us. But I've been shaking like a candle in the wind, and I've been acting like a stranger to my friends. And I'd do anything to get my fix, but I've got to kick this addiction. You become my heroine. Now I had hopes that you were coming around, but you get me high, then you let me down. And for far too long I have played this clown. So this game of cat and mouse is coming to an end, 'cause I'm sick and tired and can't pretend. Baby, I don't wanna be your friend. Well, you kept on running, and I kept on coming. When I should have been leaving, the funny thing is I still believe in us. But I've been shaking like a candle in the wind, and I've been acting like a stranger to my friends.
What if we were lost at sea, on a boat, just you and me? No cell phones and no society, and the world just let us be. We could sleep all through the mornings or go through the afternoon and dance all night under the silver moon. Oh, yeah, yeah. I feel your body sway, I'm lost at sea. Waves come crashing over me. Lost at sea. Oh, oh, oh. I'm lost at sea. I'm lost at sea. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Me and you, yeah, just us two, sailing off into the blue. I only wanna be the skipper if you'll be my crew. We'll find places we never knew. Then we'll sleep all through the morning, talk all through the afternoon, and dance all night under the silver moon. Ooh, yeah. I feel your body sway, I'm lost at sea. Your waves come.
I broke your heart, then you broke mine, so I guess the punishment fits the crime. But baby, I've been thinking lately that I've done my time. So I say a fond farewell, and what the future holds, well, nobody can tell. But at least I learned a thing or two from living through this hell. We kept on running, and I kept on coming. When I should have been leaving, the funny thing is I still believe in us. But I've been shaking like a candle in the wind, and I've been acting like a stranger to my friends. And I'd do anything to get my fix, but I got to kick this addiction. You become my heroine. Now I had hopes that you were coming around, but you keep me high, then you let me down. And for far too long, I have played this clown. So this game of cat and mouse is coming to an end, 'cause I'm sick and tired and can't pretend. Baby, I don't wanna be your friend. You kept on running, and I kept on coming. When I should have been leaving, the funny thing is I still believe in us. But I've been shaking like a candle in the wind, and I've been acting like a stranger to my friends.
So now this is something before I came up with all these techniques and was able to solidify my teachings. I would just call this the advanced whip because it was one of my more advanced philosophies. But this philosophy on the advanced whip was the precursor to what is called the AB philosophy, which is this next section, which revolutionized how the dance works for me through energy lines. So the advanced whip, for the leaders, it goes like this. I'm going to be taking a step backwards and slightly diagonal, but still under my hips. I'm going to step together in what I call the matador, ole. Then I'm going to pivot in place, 3 and then toe away from the line or away from my partner. Then I'm going to look and hug and commit my weight onto that left foot so I can pivot and step 5, go forward or side 6 depending on distance, and then post and anchor 7 and 8. From this side, so the leaders can do it with me, I go back just in the line of my hip. I go together. I do a pivot 3 and I hold with my left foot going down the line, holding my partner on the shoulder blade, pinky on the horizontal bra strap line, so her lower center can be moving backwards. From there, I turn my head to the right. I commit my weight to my left foot as I hug, pivot, send, side forward 6, and then post back 7 and 8 for my anchor. Followers, your job is never to dance a whip. Your job is to follow the energy line of something that could be a whip. So in some schools of West Coast, they call this a fake whip or a right side pass. But if I do a whip and I don't catch my partner, we have a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 5 and a 6. There's lots of West Coast schools that say in order to have my partner pass me, I need to make it visually look like I'm leading a whip and then apply a positive pressure, a constant lead, to get my partner to go. Instead of saying, this is a dancer, I need to give inertia to the dancer. I need to allow a rotation to happen, and that's it. Everything else is Newton's first law that says, again, an object in motion must maintain its motion, remain in motion, until affected by an outside object. So, on the advanced whip, we're integrating our spotlighting, we're integrating to and from the wrist, and we're making sure that we use our foot rolling in small steps so we don't overstep our center. Without those three things for the followers, this does not work. So check this out. Moving to and from the wrist, small steps, and spotlighting. We have a 1 and a 2, 3, and. Now right here, Tess does not feel 2 pounds of pressure in the back yet. So what she's about to do is she's going to drag her right foot back, and if she feels 2 pounds, she maintains. If she doesn't feel it, she keeps going, and she'll end up with a step. This step is her post, which allows her to develop her triple step. 1, 2, double drag step, triple step. 1, 2, double drag, hold, and 5, 6, 7, and 8. When the lead follow works that way, we actually have a lead follow whip, which is one of the best feeling things in the world. Followers, you know you're not doing this correctly when you're actively lunging for the leader's shoulder because you desperately want to do a whip because you don't want to let them down, or you're learning a whip. So if Tess goes for my shoulder and grabs and runs around me, I go, oh, that's nice. That's not even back leading. That's just moving around another person. So followers, as long as you integrate what you've learned so far and practice, 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 the advanced whip is going to be amazing. Now, on the other side, if I'm used to leading a left side pass with constant and getting out of the way, the versatility level of that movement is super low. But if I can have a left side pass energy that shares the spotlight, that shares the space with our spotlight and with a bendable frame, I can bring my partner down the left side, we can share space and she can move by. I can bring her down the left side and I can lead something else. I could bring her down the left side and I can choose to telemark and move my body by. The options are so much more. Like it's amazing what else you can do when you start using these advanced whip principles. So again, for the leaders, it's the matador whip, meaning you're going back within the line of the hip, feet together, turn, pivot, hold energy, turn, look, hug, step, and then settle into your post. And for the followers, it's moving into your wrist, moving away from your wrist with a double drag and 5, if that's what the leader is leading. And if not, you have a 1 and a 2 into your wrist, double drag step, triple step. Advanced whip, yo.
You have that smile, and you have those eyes, but you're not just a pretty face. That's just the outside. I've dug a little deeper and I found so much more to adore. Have you noticed everything you are is gorgeous? I won't deny sometimes Sometimes I have a one-track mind, it's true. It's like I go blind, and I can't see anything except you. As I grow ever fonder, I have pondered what's in store, and I know what for. But have you noticed everything you are is gorgeous? Everything you are is gorgeous. From your head to your toes, from your heart to your soul, and all the pieces in between. They come together perfectly. I only hope you see what I see. I've dug a little deeper, and I found so much more.
I don't like walking around this old and empty house.
So hold my hand, I'll walk with you, my dear.
The stairs creak as you sleep, it's keeping me awake.
It's the house telling you to close your eyes.
Some days I can't even trust myself.
It's killing me to see you this way.
'Cause though the truth may vary, this ship will carry our bodies safe to shore. There's an old voice in my head that's holding me back.
Well, tell her that I miss our little talks.
Soon it will be over and buried with our past.
We used to play outside when we were young and full of life and full of love.
Some days I don't know if I am wrong or right.
Your mind is playing tricks on you, my dear.
'Cause though the truth may vary, this ship will carry our bodies safe to shore. Don't listen to a word I say. The screams all sound the same. 'Cause though the truth may vary, this ship will carry our bodies safe to shore. You're gone, gone, gone away. I watched you disappear. All that's left is the ghost of you. Now we're torn, torn, torn apart. There's nothing we can do. Just let me go, we'll meet again soon. Now wait, wait, wait for me. Please hang around. I'll see you when I fall asleep. Don't listen to a word I say. The screams all sound the same. 'Cause though the truth may vary, this ship will carry our bodies safe to shore.
So now let's talk about a drifting post with different degrees of this drift. Drifting post is where we hit our post and then allow a pie chart angle of movement. This is combining center separation, post, and moving to and from the frame. Spotlighting is irrelevant. All right, so I'm going to start with drifting post as a leader. For the leader's main drifting post, we have a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4, and I start to settle back, and now I'm going to chase forward with a positive energy drive or a constant connection, 5, and settle back on your 6 to hold for the and. I'll show you that again. 1 and a 2, we'll do a basic to get back here first, 5 and a 6, a 1 and a 2, 3 and a 4, and 5, and settle 6 to go 1. That's a linear drifting post that is driving for the leaders. Now, the next drifting post for the leaders involves something called scrolling. Do you know what a Newton's cradle is? A Newton's cradle, in fact, I have one right here that I can show you. Thank you, Amazon, for delivering to me. This is called a Newton's cradle. And what happens is when you were to lift one ball and release it, one ball on the other side goes out, which is pretty cool. And then if I were to release 2 balls, then 2 balls go. What? Then if I were to release 3 balls, 3 balls go. It's madness. I tell you, it's madness. The concepts here in physics apply here in what's called scrolling. If you think of scrolling as like a web browser where you can scroll up and down, but some things on the page remain static, like the header where you're typing in the address bar, etc. So on the sugar push, a drifting post could be considered if I go 1 and a 2, 3 and 4, and then I pull going backwards, 5 and 6, settle 1. So you can see the inertia as if Tess Minnick was one metal ball. And then I am not only the center middle ball, but I'm the end middle ball. I get kicked out. So she pulls, that stretch right there is pulling the ball back. She hits the middle ball goes to the end ball and flies out. So that's a basic scroll on a 6-beat without the extra movement. It goes like this. 1 and a 2, 3 and 4, 5 and 6. I lead that by settling my followers into her 3 and 4, and then allowing for a negative release to propel myself and keep her on axis. Now, for the drifting post backwards, I would go 1 to still engage, negative release, and then positive stretch. So on that positive stretch, I'm leading an acceleration. Then I'm slowing down and decelerating my body, which makes her pause and settle away and polarizes in order to bring her in on the 1. Because we just practiced our center separation and our triple step rearranging, that means you don't have to be on traditional feet. You just have to move your body as if you were meant to do doubles or triples. Now, drifting post for the followers. So can I follow? Mm-hmm. All right, so Tess is going to lead me. We're going to go over here, and let's go and back up one step, and let's go into a sugar push. So on the sugar push followers, you have your post, and you have your anchor. So now, let's take a look at Tess Minnick and her frame. So if you have activate frame up. Whew. All right. As a follower, I'm usually in center line of my partner. But I can be as far as left arm to left arm and right arm to right arm. So now, if I'm going to drift my body to her right shoulder. Now, the key to do this is to still, very important, still follow Newton's first law. Meaning, on a sugar push, a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4, and if I just start to go across, I haven't fulfilled the obligation of space and the linear function of West Coast. So I need to feel my post first, then I can drift. I'm going to say that again. You have to find your post first, then you can drift. You know this to be a fact because this chapter is called Drifting post. Okay, so we have a sugar push, 1 and a 2, 3 and a 4, and now I can drift. Can my partner drift with me? Yes, but should she? Only if she wants to. The leader does what the leader wants to, yes? Just like the follower does what the follower wants to. So now, no drifting for Tess, and now we're going to do another sugar push. A 1 and a 2, 3 and 4. If I can turn into my torque position on 4, then I can go the other direction. 5 and 6. So now, in theory, my left shoulder is in line with her left shoulder because I did a T anchor from a torque position. So this is how the follower can drift. Now, why is drifting important besides it's fun and it adds texture to the dance? I'll show you why it's my favorite thing to do as a follower. Let's say Tess is the leader that wants to do 1,000 sugar pushes in a row, okay? And let's say it's number 998. I'm getting a little bored. 3 and 4. From here, if I can drift to her right, 5 and 6, most likely she, as that dancer, will give me a pattern that's down her right side of whatever kind of pattern that is. And that's going to dictate or suggest subliminally, but also like in actual reality. Are you burning your arms? Oh, subliminal. Okay. You are telling your partner which side to bring you down next. So now, if I can drift to the left, so I have a 1 and a 2, 3 and a 4, I go to Tess's left, now she's going to bring me down that left side. So the drill here, if you have a partner to do this with, is followers. If you don't drift your post to one side of his body or the other, leaders only do sugar pushes. And when the follower drifts to that other side, so if Tess is right in front of me, I don't do anything else. But as soon as she drifts to a side, oh, she's on my right side, now I'm going to lead something else down that side. She's not telling me what to lead, but she's suggesting that she goes down that energy line. Now, as I'm leading Tess through this, and we have our drifting posts, it's important to know where the point of no return is. So Tess, I'm going to still have you follow and we'll put your booty to the camera. So Tess is going to have her post 4 and. Now go ahead and drift to your left. And if she gets right there past where my right shoulder is, this does not exist in West Coast swing. We cannot have a diagonal slot for standard West Coast swing. That becomes more of a Lindy Hop bent slot. In Lindy Hop, we can take our swing out and we can drift. There's just Tess drifting. Tess now is going to stay in place and swivel, and I'm going to drift, and then we can both drift together. If you notice, every time we're done with a drift, we have a straight line, that linear functionality that we lock into. Bad drifting is if Tess is moving rotationally around me, and then on one continues moving that direction instead of towards her own wrist. I hope this is making sense. So followers, you want to make sure that you're never drifting past your shoulder in alignment with your partner's shoulder. To get used to this position, I'm going to ask everyone to go to a handshake right to right handhold and do sugar pushes, where I'm now going to show you the new hand grip that we need in a cross hand. We've already talked about the ultimate hand grip, but not the cross hand placement. So when we're in a shake hands hold, if Tess were to push into my knuckles, that would hurt both of us. So what we do is we use the thumb and index finger, and we use this web of the hand. And when we can push those webs together, we have a super strong compression. Then if we're talking about ring line to ring line of the fingers with the pinky and the index finger pulled back, that's this position. So we can have a perfectly straight line elbow to elbow. This is our pull compression, and if we go to a push compression, the web of the hand holds it. And now look how tight that can be. So when we get into double resistance, this is going to be the easiest way to do it. So the goal is to stay right to right. Don't be in front of your partner, but instead we're going to maintain and make sure that we're shoulder to shoulder. And we're going to do sugar pushes using the web of the hand for our compression. You're going to do 10 of those. And then leaders, you jump to the other side and we go left to left. Same third and fourth, same hand grip, same web of the hand. And you're going to bust out a bunch of practice ones here. Then when you're dancing together as a partnership, the follower should practice moving to one side or the other. And then let's say Tess has just moved to her left. I'm going to switch hands and go, yep, that works. Or if she had gone too far, I'd switch hands and go, nope, you got to come back. We have to keep ourselves honest. All right. So that's our drifting post chapter.
You have that smile, and you have those eyes, but you're not just a pretty face. That's just the outside. I've dug a little deeper, and I found so much more to adore. Have you noticed everything you are is gorgeous? I won't deny. Sometimes I have a one-track mind, it's true. It's like I go blind, and I can't see anything except you. As I grow ever fonder, I have pondered what's in store, and I know what for. But have you noticed everything you are is gorgeous? Everything you are is gorgeous. From your head to your toes, from your heart to your soul, and all the pieces in between. They come together perfectly. I only hope you see what I see. I've dug a little deeper, and I found so much more to adore. Have you noticed everything you are is gorgeous? Everything you are is gorgeous.
I don't like walking around this old and empty house.
So hold my hand, I'll walk with you, my dear.
The stairs creak as you sleep, it's keeping me awake.
It's the house telling you to close your eyes.
Some days I I can't even trust myself.
It's killing me to see you this way.
'Cause though the truth may vary, this ship will carry our bodies safe to shore. There's an old voice in my head that's holding me back.
Well, tell her that I miss our little talks.
Soon it will be over and buried with our past.
We used to play outside when we were young and full of life and full of love.
Some days I don't know if I am wrong or right.
Your mind is playing tricks on you, my dear.
'Cause though the truth may vary, this ship will carry our bodies safe to shore. Don't listen to a word I say. The screams all sound the same. 'Cause though the truth may vary, this ship will carry our bodies safe to shore. You're gone, gone, gone away. I watched you disappear. All that's left is the ghost of you. Now we're torn, torn, torn apart. There's nothing we can do. Just let me go, we'll meet again soon. Now wait, wait, wait for me. Please hang around. I'll see you when I fall asleep. Don't listen to a word I say. The screams all sound the same. 'Cause though the truth may vary, this ship will carry our bodies safe to shore. Don't listen to a word I say. The screams all sound the same. 'Cause though the truth may vary, this ship will carry our bodies safe to shore. Though the truth may vary, this ship will carry our bodies safe to shore. Though the truth may vary, this ship will carry our bodies safe to shore.